All right, good evening, everybody. Shawn Poe here, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Super excited to be on tonight's webinar. This information, you guys, absolutely blew my mind almost 7 years ago now. And, you know, when I first heard about it, we were presented the information by a friend of ours who is a dietitian at one of the heart hospitals here in Sioux Falls. And, you know, Nikki really wanted us to see this ABC primetime video. She wanted us to go to this meeting that a cardiologist was doing. And she reached out to us because she knew that Michelle was into health and helping other people. And, you know, tonight, what I would ask of you guys that are guests on the call is just take in the information and see where it fits in with your life. And that's all I'm going to do is educate you on some technologies that we're super excited about. We feel that we've got our hands on something that nobody else really knows about across not only the United States, but honestly across the globe. And it really all started with this ABC Primetime Investigative Report. And that's what I want to share with you guys tonight to really set the stage as far as what we have our hands on and why we're super excited. But, you know, I really want to introduce you first to my family. My wife, Michelle there, she kind of runs the show here. And then my two little girls, Elise and Callista. And, you know, we are so blessed to have had this come into our lives, and it's opened up different things that I wasn't accustomed to in the corporate environment. And in the corporate world, you know, I really did. I traded time for money. And the higher I climbed up that corporate ladder, it seemed like the more time they were expecting out of me and the less time I was around these three girls. So, you know, I was searching and I was looking for something into my life that, you know, could replace that full-time corporate income. Had a great job. We weren't really looking for anything else to do. We had an online business at the time. Michelle worked full-time, two little kids, a teacher living with us from Spain. But when we saw the information, we were absolutely blown away. And I want to start it exactly how I saw it 7 years ago with this ABC Primetime Investigative Report, because it really sets the stage as to what we have our hands on. And it wasn't something that our company put together. This was done by ABC News. And, you know, if you know anything about investigative reporting, I think that you're going to find this very interesting, because for the most part, investigative news is not made to make the company that they're investigating look good, right? They go in to poke holes on what the company is saying and what they're claiming. And if you watch this thoroughly, you're going to understand that it turned out to be exactly what they told John Quinones and the ABC News team that it was going to be. So let's watch that, and then I'll jump back on, bring you up to speed on where we're at today.
The following is an ABC Primetime Investigative Report that aired in 2005.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life.
It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment, a kind of guinea pig.
Dr. McCord, okay.
I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver to meet Dr. Joe McCord, a world-renowned scientist.
This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test.
Yeah, there we go.
It wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company.
They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body,
Leading to disease.
and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress, and we all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells. But as we get older, some of those toxic radicals overwhelm our enzymes and wreak their havoc. For a long time, scientists thought that antioxidant vitamins like C and E would lower it, but they don't.
As it's turned out in just the last 5 years or so, we see that they're not good enough tools. They're not powerful enough.
But this pill, he says, is powerful enough. In fact, many times more powerful.
So, doctor, how often do I take these?
And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment.
Doesn't taste bad.
It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us. Whether that will lead to longer life is still unknown. Experiments to see if mice live longer are about to get underway, but it's a tantalizing theory.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes.
Have you discovered the fountain of youth?
I wouldn't put it that way, but we may have discovered something that will tell us a lot more about how we age, what happens biochemically, and maybe how we can slow it down. So you can see the age-related.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old.
They all are reduced to the level of oxidative stress that one would expect, frankly, in a newborn or a very young child.
Back to the oxidative stress levels of a child? It sounds too good to be true. Will Protandim work on me?
But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. Dr. McCord calculates the numbers. The result, my level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%, that's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Have we turned back the clock? Well, maybe not on the outside, but deep inside within my cells. Yes, indeed.
Would you suggest I keep taking this supplement?
I would.
And so, ancient Eastern healing and modern Western medicine may soon be working together. High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks,
Even mental disease.
yes,
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression. But we do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. And I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
The company that makes Protandim says its tests show the pill, made from ingredients used for centuries, is absolutely safe. But because it's being sold as a nutritional supplement and not a drug, Protandim does not need FDA approval for safety.
Protandim NRF2 is protected by 7 U.S. patents. Major universities and government agencies initiated and continue self-funded studies following the ABC Primetime Investigative Report you just viewed that originally aired back in 2005. These studies continue to reveal more scientific evidence about Protandim NRF2's unique benefits and to evaluate how this anti-aging breakthrough can prevent and improve many of the problems associated with aging. The next video will bring you up to date on what happened next.
So the Vitality Stack starts with the basic foundation, Nerve 1, Nerve 2 Probio, to which we added the new product Omega Plus.
NRF1 is helping specifically our mitochondrial function. It's helping the number of mitochondria that we need, so it helps the energy state, and it's also helping as far as what the blueprint is being followed, what genes are being expressed. Unfortunately, mitochondria, they produce free radicals, and oxidative stress is actually increased the more powerful they are and the more in use they are. So we need to take Protandim Nerf2 alongside with it to decrease that free radicals, to decrease that oxidative stress that's happening. And that's why we also call it a 1-2 punch, because not only are we helping our mitochondria function normally, but we need to clean up the debris that happens with a good functioning mitochondria.
The probiotic that we have, it's going to improve the health of the gut, which is where 80% of your immune system starts.
So to have the company create a probio that has Wellmune in it, that helps to calm that immune response, and in a timely fashion where it actually gets throughout the whole intestinal tract to address the immune system.
The omega-3s are an essential component of our cell membranes, and omega-3 deficiency makes that cell membrane not function very well. We need those omega-3s to keep our cell membranes, our nervous system, our brain healthy. The other thing, vitamin D, is something that is just essential from all aspects. It improves immune systems. I think when you combine all of these products together, you've got the home run.
We're going to continue to be at the forefront of nutragenomics, coming up with scientific products that are proven to get a better benefit than you could possibly get by just taking those ingredients alone and then applying that to the biohacking outcomes of our customers today.
All right, so that was the ABC Primetime Investigative Report, and then a little follow-up video, kind of to bring you up to speed on some of the technology that we have our hands on. And I want to go back, though, to that original story, that ABC Primetime Investigative Report. You know, that aired back in 2005, so a lot has happened since then. But when that aired, because it was so positive and the results were determined to be exactly what the company said that they were going to be, sales flew off the charts. Now, the problem was it was a small biotech company back then. Dr. McCord and a few other scientists, they didn't have the infrastructure in place, let alone the manufacturing capability to fulfill the millions of dollars worth of orders that came in overnight. It was a publicly traded company back then, like it is today. It actually trades on the NASDAQ now. But back then it was an over-the-counter stock, and it went from $1 a share to $20 overnight, just based off of pure speculation of what this could do inside of people's bodies. But when the company couldn't fulfill the orders, what happened, do you think, to the excitement of that ABC Primetime Investigative Report? You know, it dwindled, it died down. The good news about it was that research institutions and universities from around the world wanted to fund and initiate their own studies on the product, on the flagship product, Protandim Nrf2, and see what it did in different research papers. Now, they switched from retail sales to direct sales in 2009. And the reason for that, if you look back, it's a publicly traded company, like I said, and you can have access to all of the old financials. And you'll notice that around 2005, it did really well after that came out. But when that excitement died, they struggled keeping the doors open. And luckily, they had private investors that kept funneling money into the company to keep it going because they believed so strongly in what they had their hands on. In 2005, 2007, 2009, the company almost went bankrupt, and they would have if it wouldn't have been for these private investors that kept flooding the company with cash. Now, in 2009, they were approached and told maybe the retail channel environment wasn't the right model for this to be sold on. In that video, you'll notice that the old bottle, you know, they used to say things like clinically proven to reduce oxidative stress. Now, who walks into a store like GNC or CVS and Rite Aid and is asking the clerk for something to reduce oxidative stress? They definitely weren't 10 years ago, and I would contend that they probably still aren't today because people don't understand how damaging oxidative stress as we age can be on the body and what it leads to. So the company, they had, you know, kind of a struggle on what to do. They tried online sales, they tried online marketing, they tried the retail channels, nothing was working. So they tried to test network marketing, person-to-person distribution against the retail channels, and it outsold the retail channels very, very quickly. So they decided to completely pull it off the shelves, and the only way to get this product would be through person-to-person distribution, because it has a story that needs to be told. People need to be educated on what it is and why it's so important. So let's take a look at oxidative stress. What exactly is oxidative stress, and why should you even care? Well, we're inundated with oxidative stress no matter how clean of a life we live and no matter how healthy we are. Our microwaves, our cell phones, herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, when you pump gas, that smell, that's benzene, it's not good for you. Batteries, pollution, even excessive exercise creates a lot of oxidative stress inside of your body. Now, what does that eventually lead to if it's left unchecked in the body? Because when we're young, we have a great ability with our body's own natural ability to fight off oxidative stress and free radicals. But left unchecked, the free radicals will turn into oxidative stress, and oxidative stress is the root cause of 100 diseases. And pretty much any disease state that you think of, the root cause is oxidative stress. Look on the right-hand side of the screen. We're talking about heart disease, hypertension, skin disease, psoriasis, kidney disease, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, psoriatic, lung problems like asthma, COPD, allergies, cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autism, ADHD, strokes, cancer. You know, we know people that are affected with all of these, and we don't want to go down the path of developing any one of these disease states. Immune system problems, we've got blood vessel problems, diabetes, chronic fatigue syndrome, eye problems. The list goes on and on. So there is really a reason for you to be concerned about leaving oxidative stress unchecked in your body. Now, Protandim, NRF2, and the rest of the products that we have, they are nutraceutical-based products. They're not drugs. So we can't claim that they treat, prevent, cure, or mitigate anything, but take a look at the research, take a look at oxidative stress, and I think it's an easy conclusion that it helps your health strategy to integrate products that reduce oxidative stress in your body. Now, I mentioned that the excitement wasn't just to consumers when that ABC Primetime Investigative Report came out. Research institutions and drug companies, they were intrigued by the idea of reducing oxidative stress, and they started to fund their own studies. Places like the American Heart Association, Louisiana State University, Ohio State. Look over on the right, there's a couple pharmaceutical companies there, GlaxoSmithKline, Abbott, Biogenetic. And in my mind, I was asking myself when I first saw this information, I was like, if this is so amazing and so great, why aren't pharmaceutical companies pursuing making synthetic versions of what this is? And when I started to research it, the fact of the matter is that they were, and they still are today. There's one drug that's come onto market to date that we were following from the very beginning during the FDA approval process called BG12. It went on to get FDA approval. It's an oral therapy for MS, and I can tell you this, Biogenetic funded their own research that their conclusion when they compared several different NRF2 activators, which is how Protandim works, it's a pathway called NRF2, when they compared these activators, including Protandim, they found that Protandim was twice as potent at activating this pathway as their drug was. And their conclusion was it might be the best suited therapy for MS. Again, it's not a drug. I'm not saying this treats or prevents or mitigates MS, but I'm telling you that's what the drug company's research went on to say. And you can't tell me that when this got FDA approval that they went into offices with the street name Tecfidera and they were showing this kind of research that there was an all-natural product that's $40 a month to take when they're trying to sell people a $50,000 a year drug that's half as effective. So it's a good drug, but we know with drugs, right? The Super Bowl's coming up. Anytime you watch sports or TV and a drug commercial comes on, what's the last half of that drug commercial spent doing? It's telling you all of the side effects that happen by taking the drugs. And if you listen carefully, most of the time, they're not very pleasant things to get, like internal bleeding and blindness and up to and including death, sometimes you'll hear them say. So the reality is that there is nothing else more powerful on earth to this point in time at reducing oxidative stress through this NRF2 pathway or any pathway in general. So Protandim still has, 13 years later, still has the market on reducing oxidative stress, and that's why we're so excited. Now, one thing that you need to know, because we hear about free radicals, we hear about antioxidants, it's a great marketing word, but we hear about antioxidants and it's usually things that we consume. And when you consume antioxidants, it's on a 1-to-1 ratio. So one a molecule of an antioxidant can fight off one free radical, it's consumed, and then it's done. You would have to consume so many direct antioxidants, it's not even possible to combat the amount of free radicals that we have floating around in our body. Now, God gave us a huge pharmacy inside of our bodies that if we can unlock and get it to act younger again and in the right sequences, we have the ability to fight off free radicals at a 1,000,000-to-1 ratio per second, every second, and these enzymes are not killed off once they start reducing free radicals. They go on and on and on. So the ability to turn on our own genes to do what God intended it to do, we have a natural pharmacy built into our bodies. The problem is as we age, every single one of us, our body stops producing as much of these types of enzymes as it used to. So that's the technology that we have our hands on. It's not the pill itself that's the miracle here. It's unlocking the body's potential and getting it back working like it did when we were younger. And I tell people all the time, like if one of my kids broke their arms today and I break my arm, whose arm's going to heal faster? You know, it's no surprise the kid's arm is going to feel faster because their body's working better and it's more optimally primed to deal with different stresses that we put on the body. So NRF2, when we first got started, we had no idea what we had our hands on, and I don't think Dr. McCord did either. But as more and more research has come out about NRF2, back in 2015, Washington State University did a review on all the literature that was out there, and this is what they said within that review article. NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. You guys, that statement alone should entice people to get this into their body and integrate it into their health strategy. Even if this is half true what we're telling you tonight, it's still an important thing to integrate into your body. And I'm telling you, as more and more science comes out, just like it was 7 years ago that we had no idea where we were at with what we had our hands on, I think if we fast forward another decade, what we know about what this does in the body is going to absolutely blow their minds, and people aren't going to want to wonder, you know, what if I would have integrated this into my body and my health strategy 10 years prior? Now, Oregon State University, they started talking about NRF2, and they basically said that it's like this. It can turn on up to 200 genes that are responsible for things like cell repair, detoxification, carcinogens, protein lipid metabolism, antioxidant protection, and other actions. In the report, the scientists called it a longevity assurance factor. Now, I can tell you this, the National Institute of Health, it's got a branch called the National Institute of Aging underneath it. And they did a 10-year federally funded study where they looked at ways to increase the longevity with different products that were in the marketplace. They looked at drugs and they also looked at nutraceuticals or supplements. The only natural product that they found to have an impact on longevity was Protandim. It was shown to have an increase of 7% on the lifespan during the research. And that's absolutely crazy when you think and extrapolate that out into human years. If the average person is living around 75 or 80 years and you get 7 years of additional life, that's absolutely amazing. And to me, it's not about the life extension, it's about the quality of life. Because if you remember back on that oxidative stress slide, when I showed you all the different disease states attached to oxidative stress, nobody wants to develop any one of those things, and you want to live the years that you're alive in the greatest quality that you absolutely can. Now, Protandim, I just want to summarize this real quick. It combats cellular stress through NRF2 activation. That's the technology. That's the power of our body getting back to do what it used to do when we were younger. 1 pill a day, and it's going to have an average reduction of 40% in 30 days of oxidative stress inside of your body. NRF2 is going to naturally help regulate your body's survival genes. So it upregulates the good genes, but it also downregulates a lot of the genes that cause inflammation and fibrosis inside of the body. So it just, I could go on and on just about this product alone. This is our flagship product. This is the company right here. But the research has gone beyond that because we wanted to see other ways that you could activate different pathways in the body to get beneficial benefits. So the benefits of increasing mitochondria. Let's talk about that for a second. Mitochondria, if you remember back to science classes, I'm a financial analyst by background and experience, but I do remember in my science classes that mitochondria is directly responsible for 95% of the body's energy. If your mitochondria isn't healthy and good and plentiful, you're not going to have the energy needed to drive the body properly. And if you look at mitochondrial dysfunction, if you let it go on long enough, the things on the right are associated with mitochondrial dysfunction: epilepsy, fibromyalgia, cardiomyopathy, muscular dystrophy, autism, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Again, none of these disease states are something that we want to deal with down the road. So if you have the ability to increase the mitochondria and the health of the mitochondria in the cells, that would be a great thing, right? And the benefits of this, again, just to recap this, we're talking about cellular energy, getting more ATP, improving performance through energy production, enhancing cellular health, improving sleep and promoting cellular repair, boosting mitochondria production, their ability to work, and slowing the aging process by supporting chromosome integrity. This is another thing that's going to be an absolute blockbuster over the next decade when people start to understand NRF1 and this pathway in the body. And there are going to be drug companies that formulate synthetic versions. There are going to be copycats, nutraceuticals that come out. But currently, we're the only one NRF activator in the market that I'm aware of. And I think that they're kind of, this technology, the NRF1 pathway, is kind of one where NRF2 was 7 years ago when we first started with this company. There wasn't a ton of research done on it, but more and more has accumulated over the years, and we'll see the exact same trend, I contend, with NRF1. Now, probiotics. A couple years ago, I couldn't have told you the first thing about probiotics. I've heard about them, but I didn't know why they were good for you or why people needed to take them. But if you understand probiotics and you understand gut health, if your gut is not healthy, it leads to an unhealthy immune system and your overall health is impacted. So an unhealthy gut leads to an unhealthy body. And this is a probiotic that has a special delivery system called the BioTract process. It's a patented technology that gets the billions of healthy bacteria in the spot in the body that it needs to be. They're not destroyed by the stomach acid. It's delivered into the intestines, and that's. And the thing about most probiotics, a lot of people are in there isn't even alive by the time you take it off the shelf. And the ones that are alive, by the time that you get it into the body, it's killed by the stomach acid. So this gives it a kind of a 1-2 punch there, where it is shelf stable and it is able to go past the stomach acid, get into the intestines where it's designed to be, and get that healthy bacteria into your body and increase your immune system function. Now, the last product that they talked about at the tail end of the video I showed you is this Omega Plus. This is a brand new product that we have. It's a natural fish oil product with added vitamin D. Some of the cool things about this is if you know about fatty acids and vitamin D, it's not something that we naturally produce. I live in South Dakota. You know, this time of year, we're not getting a ton of sun. We're not getting a ton of vitamin D. We need some kind of supplementation to get our body the amounts of vitamin D is needed. But we also need those fatty acids that come from certain omegas. And a lot of fish oils that people take, they've got that kind of fishy smell or taste to it. And what that basically is saying to you is that the oil inside is rancid. It's not good oil. There should not be a fishy or a taste to it at all. And that's very different with our omega. We can track it actually from boat to bottle. We know what boat each one of these bottles products comes from, and the quality that is brought in immediately onto the ship is put into the process where it starts to be formulated for getting into our hands. So this is very different than what most people are accustomed to when they take fish oils. And to me, this is the baseline of our health strategy. That's that vitality stack that they were talking about in that second video. It's got the NRF1, the NRF2, which are going to help increase the mitochondria, fight oxidative stress. It's got the probiotic to improve your gut health and your immune health, and this omega that's going to increase cardiovascular health, brain health, skin health, and the immune health as well. So these products I'm absolutely blown away by. Now, when we first started 7 years ago, there was only Protandim NRF2, and then there was also this fourth product on the screen here, the Anti-Aging Cream. If you remember the universities that were studying the products or this technology, NRF2, Louisiana State University was one of those institutions. And what they found with skin cancer was that NRF2 had a dramatic impact on basic melanoma. And so their results kind of led to the formulation of an outside-in approach. And our skin being the largest organ, why wouldn't you want to have NRF2 activation on those cells and work its way into the body, and then have Protandim as that inside-out approach as well? So we had that product for several years. Not a lot of people knew much about it, and we brought in one of the best biochemists in the world. She developed a product called Strivectin in the mid-2000s, around 2005, that went on to be the #1 selling skincare product ever and is still today. Now, she wanted to take this NRF2 technology and combine it into a complete skincare regimen. So we've got the facial cleanser, the perfecting lotion, the eye serum, and then that anti-aging cream. And look at that picture on the right, you know, day 1 to 61. And we've gotten to know Dr. Natalie Chevreau quite a bit. And one of the things that we asked her was, why is this so different than other skincare products in the marketplace? And she said, you know, basically that the skincare industry has 2 different tricks that they use to be able to market that it gets rid of fine lines and wrinkles. She said the first one is irritation of the skin. If you irritate the skin, what's it going to do? It's going to get irritated. It's going to plump up because it swells. It's irritated. It gets inflamed. And that's what really reduces those fine lines and wrinkles. It's not improving the skin health. It's not improving the cells. It's irritating the skin. The other way, she said, was to get the cells, between the cells, to capture more water between the cells, and you create a barrier that water isn't able to escape. And she said what's different with this product line is that it actually gets into the cells and makes them healthier. It creates stronger, healthier cells, and that's the reason that you're going to see improvement in the skin. It isn't because it's causing irritation or creating more water between the cell structures. It's actually getting the cells back in the structure that they were when they were younger. Absolutely amazing product line. We can get you tons of before and afters on that. Axio. Okay, Axio is brain food. When this first came out, we were told that it was an energy drink. And when I thought of energy drinks, I was thinking of things like Monster and Red Bull, all of these products that you know people are taking a lot, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. But the fact of the matter is, when you look at the ingredients on those products, they're not good for you. So Axio was a natural way to get what people were searching for. It was a way to increase vigor, increase just the ability for people to function and focus, kind of lifting that brain fog. And that's what this product is. It's something that feeds the brain and gets into the brain to create added energy and increased focus. So it unlocks the brain's potential, and it does it in an all-natural way that's safe for you to consume. The pictures on the right, it shows a child before Protandim, NRF2, and Axio, and then a couple weeks later, the difference just in the handwriting alone, it just, to me, if you look at this and you say, okay, which one of these do I want my brain to be associated with? The one on the left or the one on the right? It's an absolute no-brainer. Getting this into your body, you're going to see a difference. And it has a cumulative effect that the more you consume it on a regular basis, the more added benefit that you're going to see in your life. We absolutely love this product and consume a ton of it. Physique, the probiotic that I talked about earlier, falls into this Physique line, and it's basically weight management that enhances what you're already doing. It's made to be all natural again. It wants to kind of change, not a quick fad of a yo-yo diet that you do this for a little bit. It's really about transforming your life in the lifestyle that you live, and a quick way to integrate products like this into your life, but then continue down the path of health with the extended product lines that we have. And again, we have tons of before and after pictures. Ask the person that invited you on if you can get that information. They'd be more than happy to share that with you. Protandim, this is the last product I'm going to talk about. It'll be real quick. But back when we first started, this product didn't exist, but lots of people here in South Dakota were giving their pets Protandim, and specifically dogs. And around here, a lot of people have hunting dogs, bird dogs, and most of them are labs. Every lab that I've ever seen, as it ages, it starts to get hip dysplasia. And person after person after person was coming back to us. They wouldn't spend $40 on their own health, but they would spend it on their dog. And they would tell us, you know, our dog hasn't been able to jump up in their pickup for years now. And now he's in and out of the pickup like he's a pup again. And this kind of anecdotal evidence got back to the company. And I think that South Dakota was a direct reason why the company specifically formulated a product that was more palatable and more designed for animals. And this increases joint mobility, function, brain health, and flexibility as well. And there's tons of science on this product as well. Now, okay, I talked really fast and I went through a ton of information because there's a lot of stuff our company does now, but I want to give you a little bit of insight onto the business side of this. And I know I'm very cognizant of the fact that the business side is not for everybody. And I don't expect everybody to jump in on the business side. 85% of our business is customer based. And I love that for the simple fact that if you don't see the business like we see it, you don't have to do it. It's a no-brainer in my mind that once you understand what we have our hands on, you are going to integrate these products into your health strategy. It's just a matter of how you're going to do it. But I want to at least give you enough information that you can determine if the business side's right for you. As I said earlier, it's no longer available on the retail shelves. You can't go into GNC or CVS or Rite Aid anymore. You have to get this through a distributor-based network. And I wasn't familiar with MLMs or distributor networks. Back when I was in the financial world, I worked for Citigroup. I did corporate treasury there. I had security licenses with Wells Fargo prior to that. My last 3 years, I managed right around just under $1 billion of a portfolio of defaulted student loans. And I had done a ton of different businesses. We had an online business, but I had never experienced what this business model really was. And to be honest with you, I had a very negative connotation attached to it. I did not think that there was real money attached to network marketing. Now, back then, we didn't have this income disclosure statement. The company was too new, and they didn't have a good track record of what the average person makes. But the reason I put this income summary on the screen is because I want to show you that full-time supplemental life-changing money involved in this. The ranks in the company go from Pro 1 to Pro 10, and you can see on that next column the monthly average. That's what the average distributor at each one of those ranks makes. Now, if you talk about $100 or $250 or $580 Pro 1 to Pro 3, to me that's part-time income. I know because of the experience that I had in the collection and litigation world, the average bankruptcy in the United States could be avoided with an extra couple $100 a month, 80% of them. That's absolutely mind-blowing to me. And I also know that about 80% of divorces probably wouldn't occur if financial things were in order in that household. It creates that much stress on relationships. And so I can promise you this, if it's not you that's worried about an extra couple $100 a month, you do have friends and family that will go to bed tonight praying for something to change in their life, for their turn, for their opportunity to get something extra into their life. And we have a roadmap for people to obtain that. Now look at the ranks of Pro 4, Pro 5, $1,100, almost $1,200, $2,500 a month. To me, that's supplemental income. We have a whole host of people, baby boomers, you might have heard of them. They're coming up to retirement age, and guess what? They haven't saved enough to retire, and pensions aren't around like they used to be. So the average person is not going to be able to take Social Security and a pension and retirement savings and retire because they don't have it in place. And so they can't live the same lifestyle that they're accustomed to while they had been working. So what are their choices? It's either continue to work or live off of less money. And most people don't want to live off of less money, so they continue to work. So imagine if we could roadmap out for somebody $1,200 or $2,500 a month that we could help them earn over the next 2 to 3 years. It's an absolutely mind-blowing prospect that, you know, if you compared it to what you would have to save in investments to get that type of return, it would blow your mind. Now look at the ranks of, let's say, Pro 5, 6, and 7, $2,500, almost $6,000, over $11,000 a month. That would probably replace about 90% of American households' full-time income somewhere within that structure. And then look at the ranks of Pro 8, Pro 9, Pro 10, $20,000 plus, $40,000, almost $100,000 a month. And I'm telling you guys this, I've seen people hit all of these ranks. And I'm not saying this to brag about anything that my wife and I have done, but we hit the rank of Pro 7 in 12 months. We hit the rank of Pro 8 in 12 months after that. And 12 months after that, we had 2 different business positions at the Pro 8 level. We now have one that's at Pro 9, one that's at Pro 8, and one that has Pro 7 numbers. And I would not have believed that 7 years ago. And the reason I'm telling you that is because we got into this business not knowing the first thing about network marketing, not understanding anything about nutraceuticals. But what we knew was if there was a proven system in place that other people were willing to teach us, we could get the same results doing what they had done. And I tell people all the time, the 3 things that it takes to be successful in this business, first of all, is a burning desire to have some sort of change in your life. The second is being coachable, following the system that we have. And third, having a good work ethic. And if you have those things, I don't care what your prior experience, your education level, or your background is, you can have success doing this business. Now, when we talk about these technologies, who knows about this? I've been doing it for 7 years, and I can tell you this. It doesn't matter where I've set foot across the globe, whether it's Australia, the Philippines, Australia, Canada, Mexico, all over the United States. There's not one market that I've ever set foot in where if you walked out and randomly asked 100 people if they know about NRF2 or NRF1, that they would have any idea what you're talking about. So the market is not saturated anywhere. And that's really where we are. We're past that innovator stage. We're more in that early adopter phase, and we're getting ready to hit the momentum phase. And in business, regardless what business you're in, what profession, industry, product lines that you're in, if you last long enough and you're successful, you go through what's called an S-curve, where at the very beginning, not many people know about what it is because it's so new. Then it starts to be adopted by the majority of people. The average person starts to know about it, and then it tails off. It becomes more of a mature company, and almost everybody has heard about it. And liken it to the iPhone, you guys. We now have the iPhone X, 10 years in. I can't believe it's only been around for 10 years, but if you think about the first iPhone, how many people do you know that actually own the first iPhone? Not very many people. It was those innovators that got into it at that point in time. The iPhone 2 was probably, you know, between innovators and early adopters. The iPhone 3 was probably the late stage of the early adopters. And then the iPhone 4 is when the momentum took off for the iPhone. And since then, it's been on this massive momentum phase. And almost every single person, if they don't own one or haven't owned one, they definitely know what it is, and they know people that have had it. You do have those people that are the laggards. They'll never adopt the technology no matter how good or how great it is. But that's at the very end of the growth cycle, this S-curve of any business that's out there. So how do you get started, you guys? Well, if you wanted to do the business, and again, I know the business side isn't for everybody, but there's 3 different levels you can get in at: the silver pack, the gold pack, the platinum pack. The silver pack, $350. It's kind of like dipping your toe in the water, testing out to see what it can do. The gold pack, you're going to get a lot more product. You're going to be able to integrate this into your health strategy right away. If I was going to sign up again tomorrow, I would do the platinum pack because of all the product it comes with. You get a 30% discount on all of that product, plus you get a ton of extra business benefits that aren't included in those other packs. And so to me, my thought when I saw this 7 years ago was, even if I don't get off the starting line, I'm buying a kit that I will just have prepaid for product that I'm already going to consume. So why wouldn't I jump in and just see? And then if we do share it, we'll be in a position to earn commissions from the company. So, you know, the average person coming in, 85%, they don't see the business like we see it. However, there are that group of people that are like, I get it, I understand it, I'm hungry, I want in, I want to share this with people. And you might be just thinking about this for the health benefits, but I challenge you this. If you're Rolodexing people in your head, as we've talked for the last, I don't know, 45 minutes, the business side is probably for you, because once you fall in love with these products, you're going to naturally share them with other people. And that's exactly what happened to Michelle and I. We weren't in this to do the business. We weren't in this at the beginning to do, you know, 500,000 in sales a month in this type of business model. We were in it because the product. And we were in it because of research from places like the American Heart Association. That's why we got involved. But fortunately, we got in at the distributor level because, again, we were saying to ourselves, even if we don't share it, we're just prepaying for product that it already comes with that we want to take. Now, those of you that are wanting to just be customers, we do have several options that allow for free shipping. The one that I want to highlight is the one that was in that video, this Vitality Stack, and it was that travel Vitality Stack that you saw in the video, where it has the daily regimen there ready for you. For $5 a day, you guys, you can dramatically increase your overall health in your body. If you're going to get on these products, I'm telling you, give it at least 4 to 6 months to see what it does inside of your body and see what you're feeling. Hey, I just, if I could download into your head all the anecdotal evidence and all the things that I've heard from thousands of people, it would be a no-brainer. I wouldn't have to say anything more about this. But I think that Vitality Stack, if you really think about it being $5 a day, that's the baseline starting point to integrate this into your health strategy. On the compensation plan, I'm not going to get a ton into it, but I do want to highlight in the bottom right-hand corner of this elite bonus pool, because this blew me away when I was looking at the compensation structure. Now, what they do is they take 4% of the monthly global commissionable sales, so all the revenue, and it's not profit sharing where they cut out expenses, it's true revenue sharing, and they take 4% of a $200 million company and they put it into 1% segments, where all the Pro 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s in the company share 1%, the 8, 9s, and 10s a second, the 9s and 10s a third, and the Pro 10s, which globally, you guys, right now, there's probably about 10, are sharing 1% of a $200 million company. And the cool thing that meant to me was it didn't matter when I got involved in the company. If we could work and earn our way up to that Pro 7 level, we would get paid on all the work that's ever been done in every country that we're open in, on every product that's shipped out the door. And to me, that absolutely blew me away, that we could participate in all the work that's ever been done at a company. I don't know what other companies have this sort of compensation plan in place to reward people as they grow their business. I want to ask you a couple questions though. Do you think that we're changing? Are we having a shift on how people think about their health strategy? Yes or no? You know, and are we shifting away from drugs, and are people trying to integrate more and more natural based products into their health strategy? People are already spending money on products like this, and I'll contend all day long, nobody has their hands on what we have on our hands because of its ability to unlock the body's potential. If you used to think about genetics, that you were born with a certain genetic code and that's what you were stuck with for the rest of your life, you would have been in the same boat of almost 100% of people. That's what we thought. But now science has shown us there are ways for us to upregulate and downregulate different genes in the body, and that genetic markup does not have to condemn you to anything, that there are certain things that we can do health-wise to upregulate and downregulate different genes in our body. And we're on the cutting edge of this. And the second thing I want you to ask yourself is the business world changing? Is it different than it was a decade ago? Because I know when I had my security licenses, there wasn't portfolio managers around that if you would have told them fast forward in 2018 and we would have stores like Macy's and Sears and JCPenney's on the verge of bankruptcy, that they hadn't made money in quite a while, they would have told you that you were crazy. They would have said Radio Shack would still exist today. And if you look at even like places like Walmart, which is very, very successful in the United States and globally, they actually shut down 100 locations across the United States in 2017. Brick and mortar environments are disappearing faster than we can fathom ever before, and I think it's just going to accelerate more and more and more. But what's taking its place? Where could you have more knowledge than the average person to take advantage of this shift? And it's really knowing about how people are buying products right now on a faster pace than ever before. And that's through distribution that goes right from a facility to a consumer. And if you look at like Amazon, for example, it will probably become the first $1 trillion company. And what is Amazon? Amazon's a bunch of distribution centers set up to ship product directly from the distribution center to a person's house. And they do it in a fabulous way, very quick and effective and very safe and reliant. And look at what network marketing is. Most network marketing is person-to-person distribution, where it goes right from the distribution center to somebody's house, cutting out that middle brick and mortar environment that existed for over a century. So I challenge you to come up with better solutions to these different trends that are happening, because I've yet to see it. And the other thing that I want to say is, even if the business side isn't for you, find a way in 2018 to integrate residual income into your life, because it will change everything. Like I told you earlier, in the corporate world, I traded time for money. And the higher I climbed up, the more of my time they wanted. Every 2 weeks, I got paid. I kept showing up, I'd get paid. January 13th of 2012, I stopped showing up, and guess what happened? They stopped paying me. Well, residual income, when you can get it into your life, will continue to pay you over and over and over again for work that you did in the past. And there's not a ton of ways that you can get it. But I'm challenging you, in 2018, find some sort of way to start to get residual income into your life, because it will change things very dramatically. I don't want to take a ton of your time, but I know at this point you're going to fall into one of three categories, okay? This might not be for you. And I'm very cognizant it isn't for everybody, but what I would ask is that if it isn't for you, if something does change in your life, just get back to the person that shared this with you first and let them know. Or if new science or maybe new products come out, we have some new updates, maybe every few months, so we just kind of update you on where we're at. If you have questions, let us know what those questions are so we can help direct you to the proper information. Internet's filled with a ton of information, but I will contend all day long, the American Heart Association is a much more reliable resource than a blogger that you might Google. So let us know what those questions are, and we can direct you to third-party information that's going to answer those questions and you know, get you enough information to know if this is for you or not. And if you're ready to get started, it's a very, very simplistic process. We can get you started in a few minutes, whether it's as a customer or as a distributor. If you do decide to do this as a distributor, know that there is a proven process in place that we teach you as you go. This compensation plan is designed to incentivize people to help other people be successful. And that's why you can come in with no knowledge, no expertise in this profession and have success, is because other people have a vested interest in helping you be successful. It to me is one of the most simplistic business models that's out there. That doesn't mean it's easy. It still takes work and energy and effort, but I'm telling you, it is such a better model than anything else that I've ever been exposed to in the business world. So want to thank you guys for your time. I know that you could have been doing a lot of other things over the last hour. Want to be respectful of your time though and wrap it up, but do get back with the person who invited you. Let them know if you're not in, you have questions, or if you are in, if it's as a customer or distributor. If there's anything that I can do to help, feel free to reach out. We're here to help you guys. This has been an amazing first month in 2018. I can't believe that we're already almost done with 1 month. But I'll tell you this, right now, this time of year, people are looking for two things. It's better health and better finances. You couldn't have picked a better time to position yourself and get involved with this. So with that, I will call it a wrap. And again, thank everybody for their time and being on this webinar tonight. Take care.